What stops you from healing from narcissistic abuse that you've experienced in your life? Well, this is a fantastic question, but in order to understand what stops you from healing from narcissistic abuse, we first need to understand what healing from narcissistic abuse looks like. And the key to healing from narcissistic abuse, at least from my coaching perspective, is that of radical acceptance in this life. That is the key. Let me give you some examples of what radical acceptance looks like. To begin with, radical acceptance comes in the form of accepting, number one, there is good, there is evil. There is darkness, there is light, there is black, there is white. There is a dichotomous nature to this existence. That's radical acceptance. Another form of radical acceptance is that objectification is not love. You can be used in this life. You can be of service in this life, but it doesn't mean you're valued. That doesn't equate to love or even appreciation. That's radical acceptance. Another form of radical acceptance is that blood is not thicker than water. Family is not what you think. Other than blood that trickles down, that carries oxygen, and maybe carries some DNA strands. But that's it. You're not like your family. This is radical acceptance. And then finally, one last example that I'll leave you with is that as much as there is people talking about truth out there, everybody is a big fan of truth. However, radical acceptance is that this world that we live in operates more out of delusion than anything remotely close to truth. This takes radical acceptance. Now, the key to understanding of what's stopping you from healing, another way to put this is what's stopping you from radical acceptance. What are the stumbling blocks of radical acceptance in your life? It's not from within you. You're not standing in your own way from this radical acceptance. It's coming from outside of you. It's from the messages that you are receiving outside of you, messages from people who have their own interests, messages from church, messages from society, messages from your family. This is what's stopping you from healing from narcissistic abuse. This is what threatens you. This is what is the stumbling block to radical acceptance. Let's get deeper into this. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I do continue with this message about what's stopping you from healing from narcissistic abuse, I want to let you know that I am here to support you. I am here to help guide you into radical acceptance in your own life. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So if you're looking for one-on-one support with somebody who can guide you into radical acceptance and break the chains of narcissistic abuse in your life, head on down there, schedule that time with me. Also, I do have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person each and every day. It's not pre-recorded stuff. You will be a part of a community where you will spend time with me each and every day. I'm here to answer your questions and to talk about things on a daily basis with you. Let's break those chains. Let's get to radical acceptance. Let's stop making excuses and allowing excuses for you to heal from narcissistic abuse. Head on down there and get started. Now, that's not the screen that I wanted you to see yet. Let's get into what is stopping you from healing from narcissistic abuse. It's what's stopping you from radical acceptance. Let's take the first example that I had offered you. That first example was that of there is good, there is evil. This is radical acceptance, by the way. Now, from the outside, there's a big push that doesn't want you to accept that. It doesn't want you to have radical acceptance. It's not coming from within you. It's coming from the outside. And there's a never-ending amount of people who want to come against this idea of radical acceptance, beginning with the church. For crying out loud, let's talk about the church's stance and push against radical acceptance, that there is good, there is evil, there's darkness, there's light. They don't like this. The message of the New Age, if you will, or modern Western Christianity is that of, well, we are all sinners. How many of you have heard this? This is a message against the radical acceptance that there's good and there is evil. No. We are all the same. We all fall short of the glory of the Creator, which is true. If you want to view and believe in a Creator, an Almighty, one that's perfect, well, sure, everything falls short of that. However, the dicey territory here is that it somehow clumps us all in the same category: murderers, thieves, rapists, and those who tell white lies, and those who accidentally, make little tiny mistakes here and there, who accidentally cut somebody else off on the freeway. Well, we're all the same. We're all imperfect. This is now a stumbling block. It trips you up from accepting radical acceptance. The radical acceptance is that there is good, there is evil, there is darkness, there is light. This has been from the foundation of time. If you want to go back to the ancient literature of the Bible, God is very dichotomous. The Creator is very dichotomous. What's it say in the beginning? There was darkness. God said, let there be light. And what's the very next sentence after that? He separated the two. We have spent far too long as a society trying to enmesh everything. No, we're all gray. Right? How many of you with me so far? Now, I put out messages talking about how we are living in the time of the separation of the wheat from the tares. This takes radical acceptance. Another way to look at this is that there is good, there is evil. We have to find radical acceptance, which means that if you are receiving messages that are tripping you up in life from accepting good, evil, black, white, darkness, light, then you're in danger of not healing from narcissistic abuse. You're left in a position to continue to be abused over and over and over again. Why? Well, because we're all the same. We're all just in this gray territory. Right? You're chained and you're shackled to the messages from the outside. Again, it's not coming from inside of you. You're not stopping you. It's what you're listening to. That's stopping you from healing from narcissistic abuse. Now let's go into the next example that I had given you, which is that of objectification is not love. Now, at some place in time, we had learned that objectification is love. If somebody is using you for X, Y, and Z, if someone's having sex with you, for example, well, it must mean they love you, right? If somebody invites you into their presence, they must love you. No, this is incorrect. That's false. Objectification is real. We live in a world of objectification. Listen, I use a leaf blower to blow the leaves off my front lawn every fall. Doesn't mean I love the leaf blower. I take it out, I use it, I put it back. Many of you, myself included, in this life have operated as though we're nothing more than leaf blowers. Right? No pun intended. But how many of you have been a leaf blower in someone else's life? How many of you are done being a leaf blower? Right? And then being shelved. Objectification is not love. And there's a lot of push out there. A lot of people, especially narcissistic people, will like to come at you and say, why would I invite you over if I didn't love you? Why would I have used your body if I didn't love you? This adds that confusion. This is the stumbling block that it keeps you from healing from narcissistic abuse. It keeps you from radical acceptance. It keeps you from accepting, wait a minute, no, you've objectified me. You didn't love me. Sure, you enjoy what I did for you. Sure, you enjoyed that I showed up for you. Sure, you enjoyed that I serviced you. But in no way, shape, or form did you love me or value that in return or even appreciate it. Radical acceptance, objectification, is not love. And it's important that you have radical acceptance, because one of the only ways to protect yourself in this life is to accept that there's objectification that does not equal love. Now let's talk about this other one, this concept that blood is thicker than water. This is something that keeps people stuck in toxic family dynamics that they don't need to be in. Blood is not thicker than water. Who even came up with this cockamamie idea? Blood is nothing more than a carrier. Carries oxygen throughout your body. Or in my situation right now, a little bit of tobacco, right? Maybe some DNA strands, maybe that contribute to your hair color, your eye color. That's it. It's just a carrier. It is not, blood is not an entitlement, which is what it's turned into. And so radical acceptance is that blood means nothing. As a matter of fact, most of society's most heinous, disgusting, atrocious crimes against humanity has taken place within family dynamics. And this is not new. Don't think you're the first one to have had family do horrible things to you. Go way back to the ancient stories of old. One of the first stories to ever exist is the story of two brothers, Cain and Abel. I don't need to say it again. I think I've beaten that, right? Many times. We all know that story and how it ended. Cain killed his own brother Abel. What does this tell you about blood? Is blood thicker than water? Is family what you think it is? No. I like how Jesus in the New Testament of the Bible really put his foot down, stomped on that concept when he was teaching, and he was in a synagogue with his disciples. People ran to him and said, Jesus, your mom and your brother are outside. Basically, they're saying, hey, stop what you're doing, Jesus. Go spend time with your mom and your brother. They want to talk to you. They matter most, right? Jesus said, no. What are you trying to stop me? Who is my mother and who are my brothers? Jesus pointed to his disciples and said, this is my mother. This is my brother. This is my family. These people who are with me, who support me, who encourage me, the people who are helping me to be the best version of myself while I'm here, walking this planet, this place of objectification, this place of both good and evil. My family are these people where I am safe. Wow. Jesus was all about radical acceptance. Radical acceptance poured out of the mouth of Jesus in the New Testament if we stop and pay attention to it. Last but not least, truth. Truth. Now, as much as a lot of people out there want to proclaim truth is important, be truthful, the reality is that we live in a world that prefers to operate out of delusion. How many of you have witnessed this? How many of you know this now? Many of us, myself included, and you, we get so far into wanting to believe society, we don't know what way is up or down, right? We don't know if they're being honest about this, or being honest about that. It's just, truth is frowned upon. Truth is not celebrated. Delusion is celebrated in this world that we live in more than truth is. And it takes radical acceptance. Now, why is it so important? I know that this message, you're like, Kevin, man, you're talking about some horrible things. You're looking at the negative side of things. No, I'm looking at the radical acceptance, because radical acceptance, as far as I'm concerned, is true. That's the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Once you accept the truth, once you accept radical acceptance, you then can operate and navigate this world avoiding narcissistic abuse, because you're no longer allowing the stumbling blocks, the messages of the church, the messages of science and medicine, right? And real quick, I want to deviate back to something I talked about earlier, which is how the church wants you to believe that, oh, there's no bad, we're all just great. Listen, science and medicine kind of does the same thing if you're not careful, but they do it under the name of labels. So this is why we have labels like narcissism, psychopath, sociopath, on and on and on. What are these labels? All these things are just an effort to try to articulate and label good and evil. You see, it's too simple to have radical acceptance that there's good and evil. Navigate your life based on good and evil. Instead, it's like, no, there's this label, there's that label. The problem with this is that it can convince you that if you understand that label, well, then maybe they're not so bad. How many of you now know that that's wrong? How many of you have wasted time in a relationship saying, oh, they've got some kind of brain, whatever, disorder. They've got a personality defect. Oh, I can work with them. I can show them compassion. That is a result of not having radical acceptance. There's good and evil. At the end of the day, their label doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you want to call them psychopath, sociopath, narcissist. It doesn't matter. Evil's evil. At the end of the day, that's radical acceptance. So now that you understand the key to healing from narcissistic abuse is your ability to have radical acceptance, now, in order to understand what's stopping you from healing from narcissistic abuse, well, you have to look at what the stumbling blocks in your life are of having radical acceptance. What's stopping you? And again, I challenge you, it's not coming from within. You're not tripping yourself up. It's what you're listening to. It's what you're not letting go of. Sometimes in order to reach complete acceptance, radical acceptance, you have to completely let go of listening to the outside voices. You have to stop listening to the church. You may have to stop listening to science and medicine. You have to take a pause. You have to shut off the news. You have to shut off who you think is the authority and this and that because of their degrees and because of their college. You have to say, silence. I have enough experience in my life. I've seen it with my own eyes. And this, by the way, is a gift endowed upon you by your Creator. Your own eyes, your own discernment, your own awareness, your senses, if you will. It's time to get in tune with that because that is where your radical acceptance is going to come from. So you see, it's not you that's stopping yourself from healing. It's simply your inability to not be able to let go of all the noise, all that's tripping you up from radical acceptance. That's what's stopping you from healing from narcissistic abuse. As I said before, I don't want to be a stumbling block. I want to help you. This is what makes coaching so important. This is what makes spiritual guides so important, is becoming in tune with you. What is being said to you through your experiences of abuse, through your experiences with your family, through your experiences with the church, through your experiences with medicine, through your experiences of being used and not loved, through your experiences of trying to say the truth but being shoved down and squashed. I'm here to work with you on those things because this is where your radical acceptance exists. Therefore, this is where your healing from narcissistic abuse exists. As I said before, head on down there, schedule some time with me. I'll walk you through this on even a deeper, more personal level. For those of you who are new to the Royal We, be sure to subscribe, like this video, hit the bell notification as I upload videos daily. And before I do leave, watch one of these videos, one of my older videos here that YouTube is recommending for you. I hope that you get something out of it. I will be sure to be right back, right here. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be back with more on the Royal We. Bye.